We back. What's going on, Seth the Dark Child?
Oh man, bro, just a little bit introspective today. Got some things to think about.
Oh, that's how you feeling right now?
Yeah, just thinking.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dachopteam. So we got Twins Inc., Seth the Dark Child. It is Sunday, 3 p.m.-ish. It'll be like that sometimes.
Love it.
But you see the topic that we have going on today, and it's keep it in-house. And you see, we're talking about money. And we want to talk about a few things today, but it all comes down by keeping it home. Keep it with your community, right? How you want to say this?
See, I don't even know if I want to say with your community because our community got some real bad holes in it, like filling up a laundry basket with water or something.
Or maybe potholes. If you've been in any downtown, anywhere, they have potholes everywhere. So I don't know. That's a known theme around the world. Any downtown you go to got potholes.
Exactly. But I do think that we need to learn to keep it. We need to give our children something. We need to pass on our descendants something. And we're not doing a good job of it.
You're not doing. When you say we're not doing a good job about it, explain. What do you mean by not doing a good job about it? And mind you, and this is, I like how you said that. So it's not really about particularly race.
Nope.
It's really about if you're in a relationship or marriage, whatever, and male or female, whoever, or both of y'all create wealth, but somehow throughout the years, that wealth does not stay in the house. The wealth decides to disappear or separate or split or decrease. So go ahead, Seth the Dark Child. Go ahead.
And that's exactly what you were saying. So listen, first, I would like to say as a disclaimer, I don't know much at all about financial planning and estate planning.
Right. So but see the professionals for this information.
Yeah, see some professionals. But on the other hand, please do see some professionals because I read an article recently and it said that by 2050, the average value of a black family in America will be worth $5. The average net worth of a black family will be $5. Even today, I only know this for women because it didn't populate it for men. The average black woman in America, and I'm only saying black, this is not a racial thing. I'm not even taking it there today. But part of it is we need to acknowledge that race is a factor. But the average amount that a black woman in America has in her bank account as of 2019 was $23. $23. And that sounds crazy when you assume the fact that people like Serena Williams might have $23 million in her account. And they still averaged that into black women. And they still came up with $23.
Well, that's because we have millions and millions of women. And unfortunately, there's only one Serena or maybe two. You got Venus. So I'm just saying. I know what I'm saying, but there's not too many of hers running around. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But that's the problem. That's actually the problem because that involves real talk. Once again, this is going to be all rambling, but it's going to hopefully it'll have some nuggets. You got to understand when they say black women, they counted Beyonce. They counted Serena Williams. They counted they count all of Oprah. These are all black women in America. Oprah is worth billions. And you're going to tell me that the average woman has $23? They included them in this number. That means the average woman is in debt, real talk. If you take the top number off the list, the average person is in debt, not money in the bank. They got $23 in the bank and maybe $25,000 in credit card debt. You see what I'm saying?
I see exactly where you're going with this. That's deep right there. That's go ahead, continue, sir.
Exactly. But I've had a whole lot of conversations recently with different people for different reasons. And we as a people, black people specifically, we don't care about money, how money being saved, invested, and we don't care at all about our futures. We don't care at all. We all think that somebody else will take care of it for us.
And I'll blame it on this popular thing that people say is like, live in the moment.
Craziest thing in the world.
Live in the moment. And when a lot of people are living in the moment, they're not thinking about tomorrow, next year, years from now, or even for their kids. They want to do this certain thing, and whatever it costs, they want to do it just so they say that they did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think one thing I've learned being in marriage is that it becomes a selfless thing.
Supposed to be.
Supposedly, right? Like some things you have to. It's not about you anymore. Once you're married, well, I'll say this: once you marry and have kids, because when you still married, no kids, y'all can have the most fun in the world. You know what I'm saying? You can travel, save money, you can do all that stuff. And the selfless part comes in once you have kids, meaning that you have young generation little people that are going to be adults one day. You have to think about their financial well-being. You have to think about the life steps that you've been through as an adult personally. Like, you know what? If I had, my parents would have had a savings account for me when I was 8 years old, and now I'm 25 years old. I could have not did a loan to start my business. I could have had just put them at my account and start my own business, right? So this is the conversation and the thought process that we're talking about. But I hear it's a lot that I just want to live in the moment. I'm not happy. I want to do this. I want to do that. But you have kids and they need. Exactly. And once you made decision as parents to bring kids into the world, you have to put away your personal things that you want to do for them in the future. Can you still do those things? Yes. But once the kids are maybe at a mature age where they can be by themselves and you got money put aside for them, then that's where you, wife and husband, y'all can go travel the world and don't worry about the kids because you're gone for a whole month and they have the house to themselves, but you raise them right so they can be independent. You want to come back to a house party or your house burnt down to a crisp, right? If you raise them right. But when I'm saying that, if you do what you're supposed to do as parents, by the time you get to maybe 50, 60, because that's when you're supposed to be traveling the world. Even though it's kind of retirement age, right?
That's when you get.
But that's when you're supposed to be traveling the world. You're supposed to be, at that time, your kids are grown. Hopefully, they ain't grandparents yet. But you can go all around the world. Oh, me and your dad, we just came back from Aruba. We was there for a whole week. Learn some things.
I know. The worst thing I hear is 20 and 30-year-olds talking about the world trips they've taken, because they just forfeited their future for their present. And hold on. I would like to say I understand part of it because work is hard, and they say work hard, play hard. That's for people in different tax brackets. But you know what I'm saying? The point being is that you don't want to spend all your money, all your time working. But at the same time, it doesn't make sense for you to have $8,000-$9,000 in credit card debt at 20 years old, 25 years old, because you took trips to Aruba and to Cabo. Right?
And you didn't have the money, but you survived off credit cards, so you can act like you was faking it till you make it, right?
And I've known females, not dudes. I don't see dudes making this. When I normally see dudes doing stupid stuff, it normally involves cars, shoes, and alcohol and drugs. I'll be honest. Women will spend money on trips and shoes and clothes too. But the point being is, I knew a girl specifically who whole paycheck went to pay 3 credit card bills.
Wow.
So she might have got a $1,200 paycheck. That $1,200 was 100% going to pay 3 credit card bills. Yeah,
because some people, what happened is,
not pay off, just pay the bill.
Pay on it, right? Some people have really good credit, right? And what they will do is they'll get approved for a credit line of $50,000 for the credit line, right? And they'll live through that credit card and it's paid the interest rate per month. Like you said, you may have a card for $50,000, but then every month, only thing I pay is $500 a month back to the credit card. So $50,000 to play with a $500. Okay, I can do that. It's your money. I'm getting it right back, so I can go back and forth. But they don't know in the long term that's hurting them, because let's say they have a card for $50,000, but then an emergency happened and they need $15,000. Well, they only got $5,000 left because they're in debt, right? So it is bad planning. And then and of course, if you have a credit card with that high balance used that you're spending on, more than likely you can't get another credit card with same limit or a new loan. And if you do get a loan, you can get co-signed. All you're doing is putting yourself more in a financial dependent state where
your life got messy.
You're stuck in a cycle. You can make great money. And this is the real hard truth, ladies and gentlemen. When people go to school and get these college degrees, nothing wrong with it. But we always say, make sure you pick a skill that's going to really help you pay a bill, a trade, something you're going to make money right away. Because Yeah, is it cool to have 2 degrees, a master's, a bachelor's, a PhD? It sounds cool. It does. It really does. But then you have to pay back that money unless you're a scholarship person. But even so, once you get a 4 degree, there's no scholarship. You got to pay that money. So you have a college debt that's over, let's say, $100,000. That's low minimal. That's 100. I'm gonna go with low end. You have a college debt that you have to pay back. That's $100,000. This is you at 25 or 6 years old, graduating, no kids, nothing, right? So at the age of 26, then you have 2 or 3 years where you don't have to pay nothing right away. So by 28, right, 29, you got to start paying that money back. Right then and there, that's $100,000 in debt. Let's forget that in that time frame, you probably got a car that you're paying on. Hold on.
Okay. I just want I want you to keep going, but
all right, go ahead.
When you say they're paying on the student loan, I don't think a lot of people do the math. I still want you to keep remembering what you're saying.
Yeah, I got
Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
But this is the math. I pulled it up. The average student loan pays back about $1.05 for every $1,000 that you borrow per month, right? $1.05. Now that might not seem like a lot, but if you got $100,000 in student loans, you're looking at like almost $1,050 to $1,200 a month student loan note. That's your payment. So when you say I only got $60,000 in student loan, that is $600 a month payment. That's a bill that you got going on until you pay it off. I'm sorry, so all this, I only got this. I've done the math, so I know exactly how much it costs you every month. You're not fooling me, boo. $30,000, and you need $300 and plus a month from some dude to try to help you pay your bill. Keep going.
Right. So I got my 5. I didn't get nothing. So $100,000 in student loan by itself. And like you just broke down the math.
Stack of money.
So depending on how much it is, you may pay back $600, $800 a month, right? That's just on student loans by itself. But by then, if you're 26, 28 years old, you're an adult at this point, right? Guess what? You're going to have your own apartment.
Hopefully.
Maybe a house, but you might have either or. You still got to pay that. If you have a car, most people do rent, lease to own cars, right? That's $300 to $500 right there. And then, let's say you have some kids. Sorry, sneeze. So with all that being said right there, that's a lot of debt right there. And then if you get married, then you have 2 people. So you have another person, a guy or a man, whatever. Y'all get together and y'all combine both y'all resources. And a lot of y'all had debt. I had debt. Now I got lucky because my student was only $5,000 because I went to community college. But I got my degree and I'm making really good money on a 2 years degree. Actually, I went to school for free. But that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother topic. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that financial debt is serious. So with all that money that I just kind of lumped together and gave you an idea of what you may have to pay, people have to pay that. So with that being said, I gave you the breakdown of all that. You get a job, and that job's only paying you. So with your degrees, I'm gonna be nice here. You'll find a job and don't give you $80,000 a year.
Wait. Do me a favor.
That's too nice?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
do
go
me
ahead.
a favor. Make it 2 different degrees. One that pays enough to pay the bills and another that doesn't, aka
A business
English degree versus a computer information technology degree.
Got you.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
There you go. So add those in. But with that being said, you get a job entry level because, and be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So if you in college getting these degrees, but you ain't making no friendship with anybody there, when you go to these job interviews, unless you know somebody, you're not going to get the job that you want, the money you want. But let's say you get a job, you got $80,000 starting out, right? That's good money, right? But we just factor in, you got to pay over $100,000 back in student loans.
That's $1,000.
I just factor in, you got to pay back the car note. I got to factor in, you got to pay back your mortgage or you're renting. And if you have kids. So when you say you're a 6-figure or whatever person and you make us money, where? How does it make any sense? So with all that being said, now we bring up to the kids. Now you have kids that you are raising now, right? You have 1, you may have 2. But at the end of the day, we want our kids to have the best, right? So instead of us trying to, every year try to do a big, okay, this year we'll go Disney, this year we'll go to California, we'll travel here. But all that being said, If somebody talked to you about getting a life insurance and paying maybe $40 a month, oh, that's too much. That's too much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, what happened if in 30 years I don't die? I mean, you lose that money, right? Depends. This new life insurance, I'm not your specialist on this. I know somebody, her name is Miss I Speak Life. She's getting into that. So it might be somebody you want to get in touch with. Your cover on IG. Check her out. But with that being said, if you drive a car, you have car insurance, right? Mm-hmm. I've been driving my car since I was 18. And I might have been in 3 accidents since then, right?
Were they any of them your fault?
Maybe one. I did fall asleep driving. Oh. That was like the first major accident being young. Mm-hmm. But after that, since then, I've been a good student driving.
So you drive
on wood, just, I ain't trying to jinx myself.
So you drive for 6 months, you don't have no accident, so you just lost that insurance money.
Right.
Do you complain?
No.
Do you still buy some more and go keep driving next month?
Listen, I've been driving. Like I said, I'll be 40 in January, and guess what? I pay insurance. The whole pandemic happened. Mm-hmm. My car has been sitting outside almost a year and a half, gone nowhere.
I know, bruh. Less than 10,000 miles.
The only reason why I did an oil change because it's been sitting so long. It wasn't time to do an oil change yet. I just did because it's been sitting long enough, and I don't want nothing inside to get messed up. So I got an oil change just because.
Oh, you think I drive over here? I got to move the car for some reason.
So the point I'm trying to make is that. So what I was saying with the whole life insurance, right? Because we're talking about generational wealth. We're talking about leaving stuff for our kids. You have to understand that tomorrow's not promised.
Nope.
The pandemic has happened. And I'm not trying to sell nobody on anything. We're just having this conversation about money and resource and wealth. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have a life insurance on yourself as an adult, anything can happen to you. I can walk outside right now and get struck by lightning, hit by a car, or just have a heart attack. You just never know. Anything can happen, right? Mm-hmm. And instead of my family trying to come together and everybody, because funerals is always, it's never fun, especially deal with the family. Because everybody's trying to pull money together. They're how we gonna get this tombstone and we're gonna bury them here. It gets to a whole nasty thing, right? God forbid I die before my kids. That's the goal. That's the goal. I die before my kids. And the goal is this: that when that does happen, there's nothing they have to worry about.
Nope.
Meaning that when it comes to Daddy passed away, guess what? He left this for you, left that for you. The funeral's paid for. This is paid for. Y'all getting trust funds, whatever the case may be, and they set. That's how the other generation, other groups of people have been so great in life over these years, because they think about their investment. They think about the future. Also, side note, we're watching football right now because it is Sunday, and Pat Mahomes got knocked out. Had NFL out there, but we dedicated though. But the point I'm trying to make is that you have to think about the future and think about your kids. Stop trying to live in the moment. There's plenty of times for you to live in the moment, but what Seth the DaChop just said, by 2050?
Yeah, 2050.
So in 2050, they're both saying the average savings the average, okay, it's not all, but the average family, it should be $5.
Net worth.
That's real. And I don't care because.
And I
go ahead.
Once again, I always want to level set.
That's
because
real.
People be trying to have some fantasies. The average, they included Puffy, they included Jay-Z, they included
Michael.
Yeah,
everybody.
They included them. So the average person will not have $5 as net worth. The average person will be in debt.
Inflation's
okay.
It's real.
So don't be walking around all happy saying $5. At least I don't owe nobody. No, because Puffy and Master P and Jermaine Dupri and all the other people who you might know, they are unbalancing that scale.
We don't have this.
Dre money.
I know $5 seems kind of. Listen, if you don't have $10,000 right now in your account, right now, let's say everyone had a house. Daniel Stapp. Everyone has a house they have it for, right? Mm-hmm. And for some reason, your AC goes out.
Yep.
And you may have insurance, but it doesn't cover replacing it. It covers repairing it, but your AC unit is at a point where it's unrepairable.
2 stacks.
Right? But let's say, because inflation, you know what I'm saying? It's going to cost you $10,000 right now, cash, to get a new one put in installed, and it'll take about 4 hours. Boom, bada bing. Do you have that money right now to go on your account and be like, sure, no problem, here you go? Or you have to be like, oh, give me a couple weeks. I need to do. I gotta put the money together. Mm-hmm. I mean, right now, fellas, if your woman will tap you in the shoulder, like, hey, babe, I want to go to Aruba. You be like, okay, babe, you want to go tomorrow? Can you say that? Can you be like, sure, tomorrow? Because mind you, tickets from the United States to Aruba is very expensive for a next day trip. Okay, it's gonna be over $1,000, guaranteed, hands down. Now, it may be lower now because of the whole pandemic, but still, that's a lot of money. You just can't get up and go there. So that's the point I'm trying to make. If you don't have $10,000 right now to get up and do anything right at this moment, what he just said about 2050, that $5, sounds about right. Because if you don't have $10,000 in the savings right now, in case of emergency or rainy day, you're in trouble.
Yep.
It's just that simple.
And
I know a lot of people right now that don't have $10,000 in cash, not credit card. I'm not talking about credit card. I'm talking about cash, where you can go to the bank and be like, hey, I want to withdraw my money so I can pay in another account or whatever makes may be. Do you have 10 grand you can pull out right now? Now, for some of y'all do, salute, good job. Now, do you have that for your kids? Because it's good that you have it, but do you have it for them? Are you educating them so that they can do that when they get to the age, or maybe when they're younger? Or the goal is for the kids to do better. So if I have 10 put to the side, my goal is I want them to have 20 put to the side. And then when they have kids, I want them to have 30 put to the side. You see the trend? It's all about getting better. It's not about, well, they got to figure it out. We have to change that mentality in our community.
My God, we got to.
That's the whole point on passing on knowledge to our younger generation, because we want them to be better. The only way we be better is we have to pass the knowledge. We can't have the mindset of like, well, they'll figure it out for themselves. That had to be the most asinine thing I heard from any adult when it comes to any knowledge. Even when it comes to marriage, old uncles and grandfathers or cousins, older men, and when you get married, they're like, you sure you want to do it? Like, yeah. And they don't say nothing. But then as soon as you have problems at home and then you chilling with them, oh, you welcome to the married life, nephew. Oh, come sit down with us. Welcome to the club. What club? Oh, you didn't know that was coming? Why you didn't tell me about this?
Yep. One of my uncles did that exact same thing to me.
Exactly. If you know there's a challenge, there's something that most men who are married will come into this problem, shouldn't you tell me this from the beginning? And it's not about that. Well, I'm not trying to tell you not to marry your woman or talk you out of it. I get that. But the thing is, I would like to have all the resources and tools so I can make the proper decision. So in the future, I can always go back and be like, hey, Unc, appreciate you, man. What you told me back in 1995, you was right. Or I want to be like, man, why you didn't tell me? Oh, nephew, you had to learn for yourself. Double fingers. That's what you get.
Exactly. You know, I'm in that same situation. I'm gonna be 100%. I'm gonna be 100. I much rather you say, I told you so. I told you so, than to be like, I ain't saying that because I didn't want to make you mad. Tell me. I told you so I can at least say you're right. You did. Man.
I was hard-headed and I went the my own way.
But you at least provided the opportunity for me to learn. Nas, once again, I always talk about these stats and it's, the thing is, let me tell you something happened this weekend.
Uh-oh.
Let me tell you something.
Story time. Hold on.
I know it's real funny. It's real funny because I went out to dinner, right? And have a girl.
Huh? Was this a date?
It was business, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Go continue.
It wasn't romantic. It was business.
Okay, business.
But either way, but it was at a Japanese steakhouse hibachi, and it was nice. Okay. Now, when I got up, I took care of the bill and got ready to walk out. But you know how they sit people at the table with you.
Right.
Yeah. So this dude and his girl were across from us, and we got their ticket. It looks like he had gave them a card to swipe, and it got
declined.
No, part of it got declined. So I'm looking at it like, oh, okay, it's $43. Didn't get it. Dude, everything but $43, that sucks. It created a scene.
Okay, it made a scene?
His girl sitting there looking at him like, So you got, bruh, this embarrassing. She made no attempt to help. She made no attempt to do nothing. This dude done pulled everything out of his pocket. I can just let you run another card. Let you run another card. Okay, fine. So me and my person, we walks out, right? Me and her out at the car talking in the parking lot afterwards. And we might have stood out there for 15 minutes. Talking.
Okay.
Before we seen him and his girl walk out.
Oh, wow.
Of the restaurant. And she got in her truck, which was a nice SUV. And he got in his car, which was a nice car. And bruh, let's just say they just took two different ways out of the parking lot. So he was done for the night. But my point being, like I say, we got to keep it in house. Okay, bruh, if you can't afford to date, why were you dating?
That's fact.
Why would you take somebody to a restaurant you can't afford to pay the bill at?
Facts.
I'm not even going to say nothing. On another podcast, I'll talk about how she sat there and let that develop. Because I would never, even if my girl was treating me, if she hesitated for half a second to take care of a bill, I would have squared it right up. I would never have let you become embarrassed in public if I could afford to take care of that. If me and my boy out to dinner and he swipe his card and they be like, oh man, we declined your card, and you be like, oh, for real? I'm like, you know what, man, it's my turn to pay anyway. I got this. Mm-hmm. I would never have put you in a position to be embarrassed in public. But she just sat there and looked. We're gonna talk about that on a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show by itself. Cause my mind went, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. But the point being is, once again, bruh, you flossing for who though? If you can't, why are you here if you can't afford it? Why would you even think to do something that's going to put you in that position where you got to look stupid because you can't afford it? And obviously your credit card's maxed out. I don't need to know about your car note and your house note. You just showed me that you can't afford to eat. So everything else about you is trash. I don't need to know anything else. But the point is that the person who did this was my complexion. You know, we living in the moment. If you got to eat hot dogs, that's what you should have ate. But you spent everything you had and didn't have enough. Same as buying shoes and Jordans and cars and stuff. Oh, he got in a nice looking car. I want to lean towards it might have been a BMW. Mm-hmm. But how you gonna be declining your credit card and getting a BMW?
That goes back to what I said before. People rather look nice, look great, right? Mm-hmm. But then struggling because he has a nice car. He probably has a good job, but when he gets paid, every single penny got to get a lot of over here. And guess what? He has nothing left over. And he might have, and mind you, stuff happens. He might have had the money at the time going into the place, right? But see, some people, I never do this. Some people have that automatic withdrawal payment stuff. Something might have hit earlier while he was there. He didn't know, right? He might have had $100, $200, but then $50 came out or something, and guess what? Came up short. But still, regardless, though, I would never cut that close to me personally. Me, like, if I had the money, I wouldn't go out nowhere.
Well, but that's the whole point, that we live our lives. And this is what we need to keep it in house. We live our lives so close to broke that let's say that he was struggling. Okay. Let's say he got a good job, but he was struggling. And let's say that he had an accident that put him on his back for 3 months. Now, this is hypothetical. Right. He got a $500,000 house that he's paid $250,000 off on. Right? He's got a BMW that he's been driving for 2.5 years. He still got 2.5 years worth of payments on, but he's dropped $40,000 on it already?
Yes.
So you owe 40 on your car, you owe 40 on your house, and you struggling. So the moment something happened to you, you don't just fall into a hole. You in debt. You underneath the hole. If you might have insurance, you might not, because people like you tend to do stupid stuff. If you was to pass away, you ain't just leaving your kids with nothing, you leaving them with bills. That's how we living. That's when they like in 2050, it'll be zero value to the black family or $5 value to the black family, because we don't care about nothing that might happen if we not here. If we ain't here, somebody else's problem. That has
let them figure it out, right?
Yeah, let them figure it out. that's not how we are going to fix any problems that we have. And it's becoming obvious that the majority of us don't care. And I'm going to lean towards, I can't even say women, it's us. It's us. I can only say that somebody didn't teach somebody how to budget, balance their checkbooks. And at that point, I'm going to say, was it balanced prior to 1960? Probably. But it's got out of pocket in the last 50 years. And another segment of people have just been sitting back watching us destroy ourselves. Is that kosher?
Sounds good to me. Sounds about accurate. I mean, it's kind of hard for the uneducated, you know what I'm saying, to be able to teach the younger generation to be educated when it comes to money resources when they have never been good with money. So now, but
and
it got to start somewhere, though, right?
It has to start somewhere.
You know, it doesn't matter how old you are. Once you understand the understanding of money or, you know, long term, you know what I'm saying, futures, you have to make some adjustments and changes in life so you can become better. It doesn't matter when you start. It just starts somewhere. I don't care if it's today. Start today. You start putting money to the side. Start looking into life insurance. Start cutting off bills that don't matter. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this pandemic is out here and it's not going anywhere. And people are being forced to do things they don't want to do, right? Mm-hmm. And then with that being said, some people might end up being put in a situation where they can possibly lose it all.
Yep.
But the thing is, what did you have set up to the side prior to this from happening so you could be safe? You understand what I'm saying? So you're now forced to do something that you don't want to do because you want to survive. So, you know, this is I was talking to a friend of mine, you know what I'm saying? Most people are put into these financial slavery.
Mm-hmm.
I speak for myself. Listen, I have a house. Just got it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 2.5 years in. Well, guess what? I have 30 years. 30.
Hey. 27 and a half.
You know what? Right. That's fact, though. But 27 and a half years to go, right? Guess what? Based on my income at the time I got the house, it's based on what I work at, how much I get paid, and that's what my mortgage is. Your mortgages will never go down unless you refinance. And if you refinance, they'll tell you. Refinances could be okay depending, but it starts over. Yeah. So if you have 15 years in and you refinance it for another not for another 15 years, but for the same as out, then that's cool. But if you refinance it for another 30 years, yeah, that's a dumb move. But the point I'm trying to make is that 27 years I have left on this house that I have to pay on and a certain amount of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So technically, yes, I have my house. I own it. Not all the way yet, but I'm working to own it all the way. It's mine. I do what I want to it. I'm still a slave to working for the next 27 years, regardless, hands down.
Yes.
Because I have to pay this. If I don't pay nothing else, I have to make sure I pay my taxes and, of course, the mortgage was all included. So that's what we're talking about. So if something were to happen, I lose my job, it's a whole ripple effect, right?
Yes.
And mind you, I'm always a forward thinker. So I have things always set up at a forehead and lined up. But the problem is most of our people, or anybody, not just black people, just people, period, they don't think about that. They live in the moment. They think, oh, I'll just get another job. Really? You sure? If you do another job, it's going to be the same amount of money that you have. Because I've been with my company almost, 13, 15 almost years. Getting paid pretty good money now. Mm-hmm. I just can't leave my current company and go somewhere and get the same amount of money. Nope. It doesn't matter.
You could. There's always people hit the lottery every once in a while.
There we go. Yeah. You know. So that's it. This is something to think about. Because, once again, 27 years, I'm locked in. I feel that I'm free, but technically I'm not free. But it's something that you need to think about. So,
how long? Hey, we want to keep going on this? Because once again, the whole topic is huge. It's even, I'd be hesitating to add relationship stuff on the topics like this.
Let's touch on a little bit on a relationship. Cause I think we touched on everything else.
Well, over time, over some of the older podcasts we've done, I've talked about the actual cost of being single.
And you broke it down too.
Yeah, and so just to touch on that,
I think the top was who benefits
Yeah, who benefit? That was exactly the one.
The topic is who benefits, and he's talking about what happens between a divorce.
Exactly.
The man and woman. And he broke it down like where you went with it. I didn't expect it till I heard it. I said, oh, that is true. But go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
The Dachopteam. It's on a podcast. It's out there. Just type it in. But it's who benefits. But continue.
Yeah. So, and this is just, once again, I'm a little bit more thinking on it. And it's still, once again, the new question, who benefits? Let's say let's say you're married and you and your wife are an actual team. Now, both of y'all can fail together. But if you fail and she pick up the slack, boom, y'all benefiting. Mm-hmm. Y'all both might be able to survive this stuff happen. It's too many of us living in the moment. I'm not happy, don't know how to stay in a relationship, and we jump ship immediately upon something negative happening. People will look at relationships like they look at car leases. I'm tired of this lease. I want a new car. That doesn't allow you to build anything. You can't move anywhere with that. So I will never get remarried. I will state that categorically because marriage is a negative. But if I actually really and truly understood then while I was married, what I do now, I might have tried to make it work because it wasn't about me. It was about my kids, right? So even separating and having her go her own way and me go my own way is fine, except for the fact that she has me financially hobbled. I now have to pay her X number of dollars every month to take care of my kids. These dollars I pay her are in excess of the actual cost of taking care of my children. These dollars are just money that is really being spent back into the economy because I know for a fact it's not being saved. So, once again, I'm not investing in properties for my kids. I'm not investing in their college funds. I'm doing some stuff, but that for this example, let's go with that, okay? And so at the end of the day, when my children turn 18, what will I have to offer them? Nothing. Because your mama took it and spent it. And it was in excess. And I say this because I do numbers. I'm an analyst by profession. Numbers are what I do. She took in excess of what she needed and she spent it back into the economy. So yay, America, go stocks. Didn't do anything for the long-term financial net worth of my children and my descendants. Now, once they turn 18 and I'm no longer paying child support, I now have at that point an opportunity to try to build on something to leave my children. But when you stop and think that you took, how long I've been divorced? 6 years off of that building for my descendants to satisfy someone's needs in the presence that was not required, that's a negative. That sets us back. How about this? Just real talk. $1,000 a month being invested with an 8% return over the course of 6 years, I might have made in excess of $12,000 as a return. That never materialized. That's gone. In addition to whatever I could have saved and would have been inside of their college funds. So now my children are looking at having to take out student loans that they might not have had to do had we remained married. So what he's saying right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't really catch it or not, a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff there, but this is one of the cons when it comes to divorcing or breaking up the home, right? Because what you're doing overall, you're taking their resources and you're not keeping it in the house. You're taking it and you're taking it away. Because like Seth Darchild just said, when we were together, right, we have one big pot of money that we can do many things with and grow for the future. But now once it's separated, that money that would have been in the house now has to be sent to you, right? So let's say it's $1,200. $1,200 have to be sent every month now, so you can supposedly raise our kids, right, and provide for them,
which is in excess of the actual cost,
right? So, but if we were still together, right, some of that money could be put to the side to investing for a savings account, life insurance, trade, mutual funds, all that. But now because it's being spent that way, and I still have to maintain all my bills and survive over here, and you do the same over there with my additional $1,200 a month that you're getting, there's really nothing I can do at this point to save additional money to make sure my kids are set for the future, because I have to survive now, and on top of it, I got to make sure they're surviving as well, because the legal system said I need to. So with all that being said, where is the additional money that I need to have to start saving for them? Because if you find out that I'm sticking, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, if the woman finds out the man is still making more money or living really great, she goes back to the court and asks for more money. And this is a fact. This does happen.
Yes,
they go back because, he got a new car, he got this. Oh, that means he got more money to give him. And I'll let you know this has nothing to do with the kids, because if I'm paying you $1,200 now and I'm surviving, but I gotta get a second job because I want to live comfortable, right? I want to take trips, I want to do vacations, I want to buy nice things and still take care of my business, right? I'm not saying I'm not gonna take care of my business. I'm gonna still take care of my business for the kids and stuff, but I still want to live my life too, right? I might meet somebody new. I might want to take them on a cruise and travel. But when they do that, they get mad. How you get more money? And now take me back so you can get more money. So $1,200 was enough. Fast forward. There's no way possible that a person, a male or female, when they separate, that they can build generation wealth for the kids by doing other things like mutual funds, because they have to survive right now. I don't care what nobody say. If someone's taking additional $600 per check from you each month, that's kind of a hard pill to swallow. Like, imagine right now, think about it, ladies and gentlemen, if you're working right now, imagine right now, if your bills already tight as they are right now, you're paying bills, just imagine someone taking $600 additional out your check to go somewhere else, and you get no return on that. And no return. There's no at the end that when it's finished, you'll have a $120,000 saved up somewhere. No, that money is gone. You working how many hours? He broke it down. He's really a math guy. So $600, right? How many hours is that before that's gone?
Real talk. At the time, at the time, that was about 18 hours. No. That was about 22 hours before taxes.
So about 3.5 days.
Gone.
So imagine Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and part of Thursday, those hours are gone. You're working for free. And then Friday, you start getting paid for you. And let that marinate for a minute. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to work for free. And then Thursday, finally, now I'm getting paid. Now,
when I go to lunch on Thursday, I come back from lunch, I'm getting paid.
Now. Like, you have to break it down there, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it is when you break down that money per hour. And once again, all we're saying is that when you make a life decision where you say you want to leave your husband or leave your wife, these are the things that's going to play into the kids' development in the future. So when you say you're leaving because you're unhappy, unreconcilable differences, you're hurting yourself. You're not hurting yourself, but you're hurting the kids' future, because now anything that the mom or dad was going to leave for the kids is null and void. It's just a factor. If you can't put money to the side, salute to you. Go ahead.
No, keep going. And that equates out to the community also, though. Like the money that, let's say that I actually had kept my kids with me, right? By God, some stroke fate. Well, when they played football for the park, I would have been donating money to the community. When they doing stuff in the community and stuff is going on in the community, I would have been donating to that because my kids are part of that community. The school that the kids would have went to would have gotten the benefit of my participation. But I was donating to another school that wasn't part of my community. It was part of a different community because we don't live in the same place. I live in the community, but I'm not actively supporting a good chunk of that community because the family broke up and part of my resources are being shipped out. We have the worst thing it's a couple of things. I ain't gonna say the worst. Breaking up the families. I don't care. And we're not getting into who did what. Don't make a family if you don't want to stay. And if you're going to stay, unless there's blood on the floor, you keep your butt still.
Forever.
You're in it to stay. So, breaking up the family is the worst thing, in my opinion, that has happened to our community. Breaking up the family.
Quick plug.
Yeah, what's that?
Tomorrow, Monday, 6 p.m., The Real Deal versus How You Feel. Now, the show's delayed, so every Monday at 6 p.m., The Real Deal versus How You Feel on Stereo app. We have great conversations. But one of the conversations that we'll be talking about on one of our shows is sex before marriage or during marriage. Sex before marriage and during marriage, does it matter? And the answer is yes.
Sex matters, period.
So
sex lives matter.
I throw that out there because based on the conversation Seth just said that you need to be in forever, right?
You're stuck.
You just stuck.
You should be stuck. And
reason why some people do leave it because of sex.
Which is the dumbest reason in the world.
But it's a conversation that need to be had. So I had to throw it in there because that it kind of segue right into that. But continue what you were saying, sir.
Well, but once again, that's my personal opinion. I understand racism as a problem. I understand all the. I'm not gonna say I'm pro-black. I'm very Afrocentric, and with the focus on the black community. So I know the cancers of my community, but this destruction of the black community is the worst thing that has ever happened to the black community. Relationships not being permanent, the decision to not make them permanent, that's the worst thing that could have happened because it hits every aspect of what's wrong with our community.
What was the law that was passed by? It said no fault.
No fault. Yeah, no fault.
That was the worst thing that ever happened.
And it affected all communities, but it just destroyed our communities.
Yeah,
it just destroyed it. And you got, like I said, I don't want to get into the womanist mentality to say, oh, that's not this podcast.
Right.
But building wealth is dang on near impossible without a family structure. Right? No.
Facts.
Because right now I'm working to be a good man, but if I wasn't actively a good man, it'd be much easier for me to just call it quits and get a job at McDonald's. You know, when I finish paying child support for my kids, when I finish paying, circumstance permitting, you know what I'm saying, going to get up to Horus and Anubis, you know what I'm saying? When I finish working, paying child support, I'll still be at the prime of my earning potential. So I actually might have a real possibility of doing some of the things I envision doing, even though this handicap was given to me. But I can't even barely imagine where my life would have been had I not had this handicap given to me. You know what I'm saying? The other part is we don't even value things that are valuable in our community. We look at Jordans. We look at nice houses. A nice house is a nice house. I'm not going to knock it. But what I saw, I have a friend that just bought a house. She's 50 plus years old.
Yeah.
And she just bought a new house. I don't knock her buying a new house.
Congratulations.
But at the same time, why are you buying a new house at 50 if you're a single woman?
Now, is this a second house or?
No, sorry. This is where she lives.
Oh, wow.
I'm not.
Her first house.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's her first house. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I was curious.
Because you bought a house. If your kids don't want to live there, they're selling the house. So you bought a house that you won't even live to pay off. That's not going to happen. You bought a house you're not going to live to pay off. Your kids ain't going to live there. So you're not giving them a house to pass down so that they can live on and create generational wealth. The house is going to be sold if you can manage to keep it till you die.
Another thing, what I learned too with this whole working in 2021 going forward, there's not too many companies are no longer keeping their long tenure people anymore. No.
You better create some benefit.
So with that being said, if she's 50 years old and she thinks she's gonna stay with her company for another 30 years, that's tough.
Think about, you're retiring in 15 years, maybe 20 at the most. You'll be 70. You bought a house with a 30-year mortgage and you retiring in 20 years.
Based on the income that you have now. Not based on the income that you have once you retired. See, that's, you know what I'm saying? So after you quit your job or retire from your job, you think you're done. You're not done because you still have this house you got to pay for another 20 plus years or, whatever.
And if you I'll just sell the house. If they foreclose on your house because you aren't able to sell it for whatever reason, you lose everything. So all of your money that you had to don't have, you just put into a house and you rolled the dice on. That was fair to your kids. Was that fair? I'm sorry. If it wasn't for the fact that personally, I know people in my own family that have rolled that dice and it came up snake eyes, I wouldn't feel this way. Buying a house late in life is a dumb decision. Period. I could be wrong, but it ain't always roses and
well, just know
candy.
The conversation may not be for everyone, but someone out there is going to hear this. I'm like, I didn't think about that, and it's going to hit a nerve, and it's going to work. Because the goal is to reach someone. I mean, not reach everyone, but it's going to reach somebody, and somebody's going to get the message like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like you said, being 50 and buying a brand new house for 30 years, and like you said, kids these days are different now. Mm-hmm. Our kids don't want to live where we want to live.
Nope.
I mean, think about it. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Imagine if my mom bought a house. Well, she did buy a house, but you see, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and I bought a house here. Do you think I want to live in Pittsburgh?
And if
you know what I'm saying?
If it was already paid off and all this good stuff, but let's be honest, you're gonna use
right.
If your mom say, okay, you can use this as a rental property, okay, cool, that might be possible, but you still got a mortgage on it. So now, even if it ain't a rental, you mentally have to know you saddled with another mortgage.
Right.
Hopefully, you can rent it.
Right, and it's not a shade to mom or anybody who does that, but I lived in that house. Once again, I'll be 40 in January. I live in the house. I know what the house looked like. So unless there's been some renovation done from when I lived there, and now I have a house, and I know how renovation works now because I have my own house. Got to do my own stuff here. It's going to be a little different. Like, do I really want to keep paying on this house? Now, good thing is I have a twin brother, and I have another brother too. So maybe they want it. That's cool. I'm not gonna be mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool. But this is something that's to think about, right? Mm-hmm. So, like he just said, if you're 50 years old, now mind you, my mom bought a house when she was definitely in her 30s, so she's not 50. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's probably paid off now, but we're just using that as an example. But the point he's saying was Seth saying that at 50 years old, you buy a brand new house, you sure your kids want to stay there for the next 30 years or even for the rest of their life? They're going to sell it. So all the hard work money that you put into try to maintain the house and keep the house, now, of course, you did, so you're not going to know. But the fact is that it's like I could have lived in an apartment somewhere else and save that money. I could have did other things. I could have invested that money, right? Because I'm telling you, home ownership is not cheap.
And, and like I say, it's just my opinion because I know because in my mind I see this. A, you're gonna retire prior to paying off the house. B, you getting older, you might not even live that long. C, you hoping that the housing market is going up, but just imagine for one instance. Something happened in 2008.
Oh, man. I was here.
So now you sitting there with a $300,000 house, and all of a sudden the market dropped down, so the value of the house is $150,000. And you 75 years old.
And you bought the house for $2 something, but it dropped down, like you said,
yeah,
$150,000.
You thought it was going up, but stuff happens. And so now at this point, like I say, you're 75 years old, you've been in the house for 25 years, you still owe 5 years on it. But the value and the equity in the house has just bottomed out. It's gone. And I'm sorry to say it, you died. Not only did you leave your kids with an asset that's worthless, you left them with the bill. And we as a community keep doing it. When my mom passes, I have insurance on my mom.
But also, too, real quick. Like she said, you have a house, then you pass away. Mm-hmm. And most people these days don't have wills.
Nope. We ain't even talk about that.
And that's still part of the wealth because you need to have an outline what's going to happen to the estate, your resources, and anything. But continue what you were saying there.
Well, but
I got to do part two. But go ahead, continue.
But it's all about, because some of this, even though we're all over the place, we don't have a formalized outline of how to talk about it. Listen, we as a people, we have to, if y'all want to formalize it, make a comment, tell us to formalize it. We'll come back and readdress it.
Facts.
And that's fine because this is important. I got, I was talking, I always talking about people I know, right? But I know this kid, 35 years old. This dude literally made $50K last year that I know about.
Any kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Multiple kids, but I'm just saying. But you know how much? I asked him. I said, "Okay, you got this. How much money you got in the bank?" He got $2K in the bank. I'm like, wait. How do you wait? Time out. How do you have 50K on your taxes and only $2K in the bank? How long you? And bear in mind, I'll be honest. I do taxes. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, bro, I've been running your numbers for years. How is it you only got $2K saved at this point? He was like, well, you know, I have this and I do this and I do this. Bruh, you basically spending everything you make. And if you spending everything you make, what happens if you get hurt? What happens if you driving the car home one night and you just have an accident on some of the most dangerous highways in America?
285.
Exactly. You
400.
Not just your entire salary is disappeared, but you ain't leaving them nothing. They're gonna have to come together to bury you. I mean, I hate even to say the word. We do it so much, it's a part of our damn language. Come together. We do it so much as part of our language. White people don't know what we're talking about when we say this. What does come together mean? What come together? Y'all come together and eat and celebrate their life? No, we come together to pay for them to be buried. That's what my family calls it.
Or GoFunds. That's new wave.
Bruh, it's some hard conversations we got to have because y'all, I'm tired of it. It even made me change my opinion of interracial marriage. I disagree with interracial marriage, but now, heck, if somebody's willing to stay there and work with you, I don't really care what race they are anymore. Sisters, if y'all don't want to be married, fine. But if I want to be married and have a future with a woman, and she just happens to be of another race, I can't actually say no anymore. Because not being married doesn't help the community. Not being married doesn't help the future. See how bad it is? I've changed my position. Listen to some of our earlier broadcasts. You know how I felt about this. I can't argue with it anymore. If you want to be in a relationship and she happens to be of a different race, man or female, go for it. It ain't you can't build a community by yourself sitting at home in front of the Xbox. Just saying. Anyway, I think that might have been a whole different one. If I lost the audience, I'm sorry.
That might be a part 2 or something in the future, but that's something to think about. But we'll put a pin here. We've been on this pretty long enough, but if you want us to break it down, do a little more structure to this conversation, because it's a good conversation need to be had.
Yeah, if you want it structured, just let us know. I'll pull out the notebook.
If you want us to do another one and get some people that have life insurance or in the financial field, we can try to bring them on with us and they can talk to you as well. Because these are the conversations that need to be had. Everybody's so worried about Lizzo and people body shaming. That's cool and all to XYZ to a certain extent, to each his own, what you like, what you don't like. Mm-hmm. But how is the conversation about her and her outfit or any city girl outfit, how is that going to benefit the community for the long term? Mm-hmm. I had people talking about that like, is any of that going to pay anyone's bill? How's any of that going to help anyone's kids in the future on how they manage their money? Nowhere. So until we start having more fundamental, more conversations worth something, we gotta do better. But
that was a good closing, right?
I like that. Thank you. This is Twin Zinc and
Seth the Dark Child.
Thanks for tuning in to us today. We'll see you next week, 3 p.m. ish. Tap in on Instagram, Dachopteam, Twin Zinc, and Seth the Dark Child. He be on there once in a while. He gotta get more active, but we be there.
I hate Instagram.
That's how you.
It might be that I'm old. It might be the age. I hate Instagram.
It might be. But either way, ladies.